Darwin, the Australian city where they've never heard of winter. The weather's just one reason why tourism has become a major industry in the territory's top end. Those Australians who remember Darwin as that little frontline town that took a pasting from the Japanese in World War II wouldn't believe it's the same place today. It's a modern, thriving city, home for 45,000 residents and a getaway from it all stopover spot for a floating population of a few thousand extra tourists and travellers. Up here, it's always blossom time. Even outside the inner city, huge shopping complexes like the Lend-Lease Development $2 million Casuarina Centre provide for Darwin residents everything and more that's available in the major cities down south. One huge air-conditioned store alone covers more than 53,000 square feet. This year's Darwin Festival coincides with the opening of a new Territorian International Hotel. A parade of local beauties at poolside begins the opening ceremony of the $3 million hotel. The winner will be sponsored by the hotel in the Miss Darwin quest. And here she is, Miss Territorian, 24-year-old Fay Reed, a nurse at Darwin Hospital. Among the dignitaries, Mayor Tiger Brennan plants the ceremonial tree. Olympian and channel swimmer Linda McGill christens the pool with a symbolic lap. Hotel executives Keith Morman and Sir Norman Ridge preside over the ceremony as the Minister for the Northern Territory, Kep Enderby, formally declares the hotel open. Yet another sign of the great building expansion taking place in Darwin. This year, the country's fastest catamarans are competing on the waters of Fanny Bay during Australian Catamaran Week. On those days when Darwin seems to have become too grown up, too much like other cities, it's easy to get away from it all. A brief boat or ferry ride takes you across Darwin Harbour to Mandorah. The hustle and bustle of city living hasn't caught up with Mandorah. When the local Aborigines perform the buffalo dance, drift back in time. Imagine how things may have been before there ever was a Darwin. Miss International Solveig Larsen is among the visitors getting to know the local residents. The old theory that buffalo are ferocious is not evident at the Yarrawonga Zoo. These unique animals are found in many parts around Darwin. Here's one resident who's not thirsty. He's a fish-eating crocodile and he's hungry. Crocodile shooting used to be a big sport in the territory, but these days hunters have to move way out to find the crocs in any numbers. For hunters, tourists or business, by air is the only way to go much of the time. The charter business is booming, and no wonder. When the wet season starts around the end of each year, many of the roads are impassable. The charter services turn on anything from a 2-passenger model to a flying bus. Some of the properties up here are just about as big as a couple of European countries put together. Many of the stations have their own light aircraft to get around. Scott's Creek is one of the well-known properties. The main activity here is cattle raising. Complementing the cattle industry, many of the territory stations are growing sorghum. This year, about 25,000 acres of sorghum will be harvested on Bryce Killen's property. There's likely to be a dramatic increase in the future. Right now, the harvest is being used as cattle fodder. But there are proposals to open an export market to Southeast Asian countries. The main cattle breed up here is Territory Shorthorns, with some Brahman strains being added. Meanwhile, back in town, Festival Week hits a high spot, with a big parade led by the Northern Command Band. 38 floats take part in a mixture of what looks like a little of Melbourne's Moomba, Sydney's Waratah Parade, or Adelaide's Christmas pageant. Similar, but different. Here and there you catch a glimpse of something that portrays the atmosphere of Darwin and the Northern Territory. Perhaps that difference is what makes these people proud of the northern city they live in. Darwin's really come of age now, and it's growing more rapidly than any other centre in Australia.